LA Festival of Books. Listen, we are right here inside the Reader's Magnet booth, and we are hearing from authors. So if you are book enthusiasts, come on in the room and join us so that you can hear from our fabulous authors. So up next, we've got Geoffrey Bott who's going to be coming, and the name of his book is Art of Deception. So let me tell you a little bit about Geoffrey. Geoffrey Bott was born in England and graduated with an electronic engineering degree from the University of Sheffield before he turned 21. After moving to California, he started his own scientific company at the age of 24. That's awesome. Geoffrey is a well-accomplished and well-respected in his field, which has gotten him invited to laboratories around the world. So let's give a thunderous applause for Geoffrey Bott.
Thank you for that great introduction. I really appreciate that, and I'm honored and privileged to be here, so thank you very much. Writing, I never thought I would be a writer. I got into it totally by, not mistake, but I went through some serious traumatic events and in my life. I had 13 left knee surgeries, went through a really bad divorce, then I bought another house that was in a forest fire, my neighborhood was destroyed. And yet I was still able to do my work, I was still able to travel. And when I had all my knee surgeries, my surgeon said you'd never cycle again. So I went and bought a bike and did a lot of cycling. And it was a way of me to get through life. And sometimes you just got to keep going. The premise of my first book, Uphill, was you've got to keep going, don't give up. And that's how that book originated. I wrote a manuscript, it was 110,000 words. The thing was massive. It was published in 2019. In 2020, it was nominated for an Independent Writers Award, which to me is astonishing. People who read it said my writing style would make a good thriller. So I started writing thrillers. The first thriller was Biological Deception. That was written in 2020. I travel. I get as the lady, nice, beautiful lady said. I travel the world. I didn't get invited to labs. I couldn't travel in 2020 because I refused to be injected, and so my business was shut down. So I sat down and wrote Biological Deception, and it's about a virus being developed around the world in the premise of taking over the world. It was the One World Order doctrine back there. So after the virus, we had supply chain issues. So I sat down and thought, okay, what can I do with supply chain issues? So I started writing Art of Deception, which is the second book in the thriller trilogy. And I decided to bring artificial intelligence and robots into the story. And they're sinking ships, creating a supply chain issue. But the whole series, the whole trilogy series about deception. There's a lot of deception going on in the world, and they're sinking the ships as a deception. It's not really what they want to do. They want to take over the world. And to me, they have to do that by occupying the White House. And so I bring in artificial intelligence. And this was written in 3 years ago, 2021. It was published in 2022. But now everybody's talking about robots, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, and I have a new dynamic. I have a scientist, a British scientist, who has a patent on skin technology. So he is taken over, he's kidnapped, and he used that skin technology to build real life robots. You can't distinguish between a human and real life robots. So. Hello. Okay, I work in technology, so I know how it works sometimes. So anyway, they build these robots. Without giving the book away, one of the world leaders is replaced with a robot, and nobody knows. And so my character, Daniel Cross, the main character in the book, he goes out there. He has to find out where these robots are controlled. And so that's the premise that's the story of the book. He travels the world. He goes around looking to see where the robots are controlled. They've been compared to Jack Reacher stories, Tom Clancy books, James Bond. I mean, people like the stories. There's a lot of energy, and I travel, so I bring a lot uh, uh, of my experiences into the books, and I write some of the places they go to is where I've traveled and been to, so I can physically write so that the reader can see where the characters are. Um, the book after that is political deception. But anyway,
All right.
that's my book.
Thank you so much.
I've been told to shut up. Sorry.
Geoffrey Bott, everybody, thank you so much for sharing with us today. So we're going to go ahead.
How long did it take you to write?
Year and a half this one. My first political thriller was 6 months. And my uphill took 5 years to write and publish.
All right, one last question.
Yes.
When you write a novel and you channel some of it or you're thinking it, does it all come out in order, or is it like sometimes you get tidbits from 2/3 through and then you backtrack? And does it come out in chronological order?
That's a good question. The stories are very complex, and so I have to stand here. My stories are very complex, so I might write something in the first few chapters, but I have to remember that I've written that in the first few chapters. So when I bring up events later in the book, I have to come back and reference things in the first few chapters. They are complex. It's simple writing. You don't need a dictionary to read my book, but they're very complicated. And so it's a good question. Yeah, it's. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Geoffrey. Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause again. Absolutely. So now we want to bring up our next author in the person.